One of the things the Spirit of God told me was about your blood pressure gauge. It's a fake equipment.
Once considered the gold standard for measuring temperature and blood pressure, sphygmomanometers quietly hid a toxic secret. These classic glass instruments, used in hospitals for decades, relied on mercury, a heavy metal known for its high precision but devastating health risks. Even a small spill could release mercury vapors, leading to neurological damage, kidney failure, or respiratory distress in both patients and healthcare workers. Accidental breakages were common, and proper cleanup required hazmat-level precautions. As the dangers of mercury exposure became widely recognized, especially in enclosed clinical environments, international health agencies pushed for their elimination. By the late 20th century, digital and aneroid alternatives took their place.
Experts say it's important to add a blood pressure monitor to your home first aid kit. We found them on Amazon.
Unfortunately, many of the blood pressure monitors that are available on online retailers like Amazon, for example, are not on the VDL list. This basically means that blood pressure monitors have not gone through rigorous testing, so formal studies to prove and show that they are giving accurate blood pressure readings. Basically, what this could have meant for that patient is, one, an incorrect hypertension diagnosis. Hypertension is a medical word for high blood pressure. And two, potentially me starting him on antihypertensive medication, so high blood pressure medication, when he probably didn't need it.
Are automatic blood pressure cuffs reliable? The ones at the wrist, the ones at the arm? Well, my name is Dr. Story. I've been a chiropractor for over 23 years. Now, my experience with these blood pressure cuffs has been, they can ballpark it, but they're very often wrong. This study demonstrates that there is inaccuracy in the use of automated blood pressure cuffs, monitors, and traditional manometers when compared with the gold standard mercury column manometer. I looked at the Mayo Clinic, I looked at WebMD, and all of them kind of agree that these blood pressure cuffs can be inaccurate. Now, they're inaccurate in the sense that they're not perfect. They can be slightly higher, and it seems as though, and this is a little conspiracy theory, but it seems as though they all tend to read a little bit higher, than a normal blood pressure measurement. And so this leads people to believe that their blood pressure is actually higher than it is. Now, whether it's 5 millimeters of mercury or I was looking at some studies where it's up to 20 millimeters of mercury. Now, that's a significant difference. So if your blood pressure if your normal blood pressure is, let's say, 120 in the systolic, but your home unit measures 140, you're going to think your blood pressure is totally different.
To show how unreliable and fraudulent this blood pressure gauge can be, here is a clip of it placed on a plastic bottle and still reading like it's on a human arm. Even more troubling is how this equipment leads its users into the dark tunnel of constant ill health.
Using that equipment, most people in the world will not be well. You would need prescriptions. It was manipulated. You will hardly be well. So if you depend on that thing to tell whether your blood pressure is okay or not, you are sunk. Won't be long before you need drugs. And once it reads that your blood pressure is abnormal, you will panic. And it will become abnormal because now you're panicking and you're in trouble, you need drugs.
The way that we treat blood pressure is a scandal of epic proportions. And the chances are that you or someone you love is in this circumstance where their blood pressure is being way overtreated. It's such a massive scandal, which is fairly universal across hospitals. Doctors and the medical establishment are stuck in a mindset of medicines, good, medicines, good. And there's just a total lack of common sense.
Today, more than 70% of high blood pressure drugs are prescribed by general physicians. And how is this accomplished? Fear marketing.
It's about creating a good story that uses science that convinces a physician to think about writing a prescription.
This is not science. This is incredibly effective marketing. It has nothing to do with science.
They use what I call statistical contortionism. Basically just skew the numbers, make everything look fantastic. You hide the bad numbers.
They're learning every trick in the book. They're evolving into efficient marketing machines. And it's working.
Everything that we've known about is a lie and a plot. And so what happens is they try to set everybody with something you cannot achieve and then medicate you.
In 1970, the criteria for high blood pressure was 160/90. That's when the doctor started talking to you about your high blood pressure and whether you should take medications. There was another method of knowing if you had high blood pressure, especially as you got older, was the systolic number had to be 100 plus your age. So if you were 70 years old, it was perfectly acceptable to have your blood pressure 170 over something. As long as it was lower than that, everything was A-okay. Then somehow, about 30-ish years ago, when I was in school, the numbers changed to when you were supposed to give someone medication. We were taught in our school that when someone had high blood pressure that was 140/90, that's when you were to send them out to their primary care doctor and have them take medication. Well, then in 2017, something happened. And that is, a study came out that said people's blood pressure should be lower than 120/80. Now, that is a pretty lofty goal. That is very low, such that almost hardly anyone can pass that. When you go into a doctor's office in the middle of the day, you've already had stress. You're already stressed about being there. Maybe you've been waiting in the waiting room too long. You probably had coffee or some type of food prior to that appointment. Then they rush you into the room, usually put the blood pressure cuff off over a number of clothing as you're dangling there, as they're asking questions. There's a whole host of reasons why your blood pressure is going to be above 120/80. If you are above 120/80 now, you're going to get a talking to. You're going to get a little spanking, a little slap on the wrist. The doctor's going to talk to you. But if you're above 130/80, now that's the criteria for medication. Is this simply corporate greed from pharmaceutical companies to lower the margins so low that almost no one can pass, and thus every one of us should be on blood pressure medication?
You have to understand that the strategy of the enemy is to destroy with fear and deception. Those are the two things that the Bible shows us about him that he is using in this hour: fear and deception.
Another wind of deception fomented with this blood pressure is how its users unknowingly become lifetime customers of exorbitantly priced high blood pressure drugs.
Their drugs don't cure. They make you a lifetime customer. Drugs for maintaining blood pressure is lifetime. You'll never be weaned out of it. It's for your life.
85% of all high